Hey, the East is turning into a beach right now. The Knicks probably favorite in a game. The Wizards are going to be a handful. Atlanta is a handful. Orlando is a handful. I haven't even mentioned Toronto.
You haven't mentioned Boston or Miami either.
That's my point.
Man, so this is a very interesting thing where, I think this was Piston Talk who edited this with Charles Barkley, and they're forgetting about the Pistons. So does it surprise me that they're forgetting about the Pistons, that where the Pistons rank in the East? I hear somebody was telling me at the gym, well, I think they're the 7th or 8th best team in the East. And I'm just thinking like, bro, people are so hyped up on Philly, and they forget the fact that LeBron is 40 years old. I mean, and LA was celebrating that he was gone. Luka and them did not want him there. And it's funny when you talk to people, about Luka and them not wanting him there, they act like you crazy. They like, oh, for real? Well, LeBron was this analytically, bro. Watch the game. Luka Doncic did not want LeBron there. Austin Reeves and them didn't want LeBron there. But LeBron fans are like that. But you look at Philly, you got an old ass Joel Embiid. You got an old ass LeBron James. You don't have a pure point guard over there. I mean, people jumping it. Now, Miami, I do like Miami, but who gonna score points on the perimeter? That's the only question for Miami. Like, if they could have found a way to keep Norman Powell, that's exactly what they missing. Like, when you look at Miami, unless Nikola Jovic is about to, heat up like dry ice and figure it out right now, they don't have no score over there. So losing, Hero and Powell, their perimeter scoring is whack. But defensively, Davion Mitchell, Giannis, Bam, Andrew Wiggins, they got one of the best defensive starting fives out there. Regardless who started the 2 position, but when you start to talk about guys that can get you a bucket on the perimeter, they don't have that. Giannis can put his head down and drive it, but when you start talking about a scorer on the perimeter, they don't have it. Wiggins was supposed to be there, but he never materialized. And him and Davion Mitchell shot the ball really, really well last year, but we talking about scoring. When you look at New York, we match up well with New York, so we really ain't really concerned about it. Now, our roster is still changing, which possibly Durham taking a qualifying offer. That is true, but it's just names. They just going off names. The NBA is just the name. Oh, Philly. Like, if anybody know basketball, Philly, we know Philly ain't going to work, and they going to blame Jaylen Brown. You know what I'm saying? We know New York probably going to be there. Boston kind of fell off. You like Toronto, but how's the locker room if the Kawhi trade don't go through? Even with Kawhi, can you count on Kawhi? I don't know. Even if you go to Atlanta, they starting to figure it out. But, where they could have improved that, they could have found some help for Onyeka Okongwu. Didn't find help for him, but I like him. I like where Charlotte is moving that way. But in general, dude, I still think the Pistons, depending on what they do with Durham and they're still going to have probably the best record in the league, best record out east. The Knicks are going to have a little hangover. They got the right to turn the light switch on and off. They will. They're going to be there in the end. People saying, well, what about Indiana? I mean, I'm not worried about Indiana. They fucked their roster up when they did the Zubac trade. Just to keep it a bean with you, that raw, like, Tyrese Halliburton probably going to be getting the fuck up out of there pretty soon. You go out there, you got a team with Aaron Nesmith who can get up the floor, shoot and score it. You got a team with Nembhard that can get up and shoot it and score it. You got a team with Pascal Siakam that can get up and score it. And then you go get Zubac? For what? Same thing, what's wrong with Toronto? What's that big fella they got in the middle? No mobility, bro. The Pacers should have got a big fella who can get up and down the floor. Zubac is just, like I said before with the Pacers, I don't like what they did with their roster. Just to keep it a beam. Then he coming off the Achilles injury. Yeah, he can't make all them better for sure. Aaron Nesmith gonna be better. Nembhard gonna be better. Pascal gonna be better. But like I said before, I just don't see their roster competing, bro. I mean, they gonna be up. I don't see them compete with Miami, Detroit, New York. I don't see it. Boston, we'll see what happens. They got a lot of turnover. We'll see if Toronto able to take that step. We'll see if what's the other squad out there? I like to see if Atlanta gonna be able to take that step, which I think they is. Orlando, I think it's gonna be a trade mid-season for Orlando. If they can stay healthy and carry that playoff momentum. The East is very damn, but they're gonna continue to sleep on Cade Cunningham. They're going to continue to sleep on the Pistons because the Pistons didn't get the big name. But guess what? It's not over with. If they had a Benedict Mathurin, a Watson, or if Jalen Duren signed that qualifying offer, I just said, why not put all the chips in and go out there and take your draft picks, or take some of your players and go get a couple superstars and just go for it. But, the Pistons, they only lost in the playoffs. The NBA cheated, but also they didn't have a secondary scorer or a primary scorer. I don't think K want to score like that. They got to go get that. And when you kind of start to go into like the Benedict Mathurin, Peyton Watson scenario, two improving guys. You get into the DeMar DeRozan, those guys are more of a better fit, but he proven. You start going out there and talking about KD, Kyrie. It's going to be interesting, but the Pistons got too much. The one thing that you ain't got to worry about the Pistons is how they match up with the Knicks, depending on how the roster go. They going to defend. They going to defend. They got more athletic. They got better shooting. The team camaraderie is going to be a little shaky early on, but I think they'll figure it out. They're consistent. You know what you're going to get. Third year in JB program, they're consistent. The Knicks are consistent. Boston, you don't really know. Philly, you don't really, people looking at the names, don't really know. Two old motherfuckers and don't really know. This is how they thought when LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh it was just gonna magically work. Toronto, we'll see if they can take that step forward, but I don't think they didn't. I think the Kawhi trade was smart, but I don't think they did enough to take that step forward. Charlotte, I think getting them bad apples out, they might take a step. Atlanta, Jalen Johnson, they may take a step. So I'm really worried about the teams that's gonna take a step. New York is gonna be New York. Detroit is gonna be right up there with New York, but everybody else, bro, and I think Miami gonna be there too. But everybody else, like the Indiana, the Hawks, the Orlando Magic, they going to be jocking all year. Somebody might start off hot. They going to be jocking all year. New York and Detroit is the top of the East. You heard it here. They the top of the East. Unless the Pistons do something so stupid, they going to be the top of the East. But people just like the names. But if Kawhi come out to Toronto, they're going to be right there. It's going to be a dogfight. Miami, Toronto, Detroit, New York, it'll be a dogfight up there. But we know Kawhi can't stay healthy. And, Giannis, what he got left. So it's gonna be interesting. But to me, Pistons are probably gonna have the best record out east, depending on what they do or don't do. That's just my opinion on it. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Next subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance to get notifications. We go live or drop video. Find me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. And my thing is this, like, people just think, still in this today NBA, and I can tell people don't watch basketball or don't understand or comprehend basketball. It's even worse now today when you throw 4 or 5 names together and you expect it to work. It don't work because today's basketball player can't play without the ball, and the elimination of the true point guard to get them in and out of offense. And then guess what? They don't play defense no more. You know what I'm saying? So they think Jaylen Brown gonna have to guard all 5 people, him and Escom? We'll see. But hey, appreciate y'all. Peace.